You've probably known someone like this. Sharp eyes, measured words, the kind of man who doesn't speak until he's sure his sentence will land with precision. He reads history, not headlines. He builds arguments, not sound bites. In every conversation, you can feel it, the depth. When he first entered the modern workplace, he believed that depth was a rare asset, that people would respect careful thinking, that if you spoke less but said more, the world would listen. But that's not what happened. Slowly, without him noticing, the environment began to retrain him. The endless pings, the urgent but trivial meetings, the "we needed this yesterday" emails. They all carried the same message. Don't think too much, don't go too deep, just give us something. Now. At first he resisted. He still carved out time to analyze problems, to explore the real causes instead of treating symptoms. But each time he did, something strange happened. Silence, no recognition, no response. The room moved on without him. Then, one day, he played along. He gave a shallow, instant answer, and the room lit up. Yes, that's great, let's run with that. And in that moment, the rewiring began. This is how modern work breaks down a deep mind, not by attacking it directly, but by starving it, ignoring it, until it learns to survive on the surface. He didn't just lose his habits, he lost a piece of himself. And the most dangerous part, he didn't even notice it happening. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Modern work doesn't just use your time, it rewrites your mind. It doesn't crush deep thinkers with open hostility. That would be too obvious, too easy to resist. Instead, it reshapes them the way a river reshapes stone. Slowly, invisibly, and permanently. A deep mind thrives on exploration, on wrestling with complexity, on building something that lasts. But the modern system rewards something else. It rewards speed, compliance, and the ability to produce an answer, any answer, in the shortest amount of time possible. And once you live inside that system long enough, you start to play its game without realizing it. You stop asking the questions that take days to answer. You stop chasing ideas that can't be summarized in a slide deck. You stop thinking in terms of truth and start thinking in terms of deliverables. This isn't just a personal loss. When a society's deepest minds get pulled to the surface, we all pay the price. Problems stay unsolved. Mistakes repeat. And the very people who could have led us out of the mess are too busy swimming in the shallows. It starts small, a meeting where you have done the homework, you have read the reports, you have mapped the risks. You have weighed the options, you share your findings, you lay out the real issues beneath the surface. The room goes quiet, eyes drift back to laptops, someone changes the subject. Later, another colleague throws out a quick idea, no research, no depth, just a shortcut, a slogan, a "we can just" kind of plan. Suddenly the room is alive, nods, praise, action items. That idea gets written into the minutes, yours does not. Next week it happens again. You bring up a long-term concern, silence, then someone offers a one-line fix that only hides the problem. The group celebrates it like it is genius. You start to notice the pattern. Depth is ignored, surface is rewarded. And here is the trap. Your brain is always learning. Every time deep thinking gets silence while shallow thinking gets attention, the lesson is clear. The same thing happens in email. You spend an hour crafting a detailed breakdown, no reply. You send a short, simple message. Instant response. It feels subtle at first, but the message is loud. Stop going deep. It does not matter here. So you begin to adapt. You start giving what you know will get a reaction, not because you stopped caring about depth, but because the system taught you that depth does not work here. This is how the shallow wins, not by proving it is better, but by making you forget that there is an ocean underneath you. Here is how it happens, step by step. At first, you enter the workplace with your natural style. You go deep. You think before you speak. You work toward complete solutions. Step 1, you offer a well-thought-out analysis. It takes time. It requires focus. The reaction you get is silence or a polite nod. Then the meeting moves on. Step 2, you shorten your approach. You still keep some depth. You hope this way you can be heard without losing your standards. The reaction is better, but still no real traction. Step 3, you give in to the pressure for speed. You offer a quick fix, a fast opinion, a ready-made answer that fits the moment, even if it skips the complexity. Suddenly, people respond. The boss smiles, the team acts, you get recognition, your brain connects the dots. Deep work gets you nothing, quick answers get you everything. The algorithm has begun to run inside your head. Each time you see a shallow answer get rewarded, your mind updates the rulebook. Each time a deep answer is ignored, the old rules fade. Soon you stop even trying the deep answer first. You go straight to what you know will land. You start thinking not about the truth, but about the timing, not about the full solution, but about the deliverable that will get a reaction. This is not a conscious choice. It is operant conditioning, the same principle that trains animals to perform tricks. Reward shapes behavior, and in modern work, the rewards are designed for speed and surface. Over months, the change becomes permanent. Your instincts shift. You no longer ask, "What is the best way to solve this?" You ask, "What can I say right now that will get the green light?" The cost is invisible at first. You still believe you are the same thinker you have always been. But in truth, the depth is fading. Your mind, once trained to explore the ocean floor, now swims circles in the shallow end. And because the system rewards you for it, you begin to mistake survival for success. This is the escalation algorithm of modern work, a slow rewiring process, a loop of feedback and reward, a mechanism that takes a mind built for depth and makes it a tool for speed. And once it is installed, it runs automatically unless you see it for what it is, unless you decide to break it. Not everyone is equally vulnerable to this. The truth is, shallow thinkers adapt faster to shallow rewards. They never relied on depth to begin with. For them, chasing quick wins is just business as usual. But deep minds are different. They begin their careers believing that quality speaks for itself, that a well-built idea will naturally rise to the top, that the system wants real answers, not just fast ones. That belief makes them slower to adjust when the environment changes. They keep trying, they keep investing time and thought, hoping the depth will finally be noticed. And in a way, this is what makes them easier to rewire, because when the reward finally does come, even if it is for something shallow, it hits harder. After weeks or months of being ignored, that one moment of recognition feels like proof that they have finally cracked the code. What they do not see is that the code itself is broken. The recognition is not for the depth they value, it is for the speed they resisted. This is the paradox. A shallow mind thrives in a shallow system. A deep mind survives in it, but only by becoming shallow itself. And the transformation is often invisible to the person going through it. By the time they notice, it is not a matter of going back to who they were. It is a matter of unlearning habits the system has spent years drilling into them. That is why deep minds fall faster once the shift begins. They have more to lose, and once the loss starts, the system makes sure it does not stop. Once a deep mind has been pulled into the shallow, there are only a few ways forward. The first path is assimilation. You let go of the fight. You learn the rules and play them well. Soon, you become one of the system's best performers. You respond fast. You deliver on demand. You hit every metric. On paper, you are a success story. But inside, you feel the difference. The curiosity that once drove you is quiet now. The work is lighter, but so are you. The second path is quiet resignation. You refuse to play the shallow game, but you stop pushing for depth. You keep your head down. You do only what is asked. You save your real thinking for your own time, Far from the office, on the surface, you look steady, but underneath, you are withdrawing. The work no longer feels like a place to create. It is just a place to collect a paycheck. The third path is strategic realignment. This is the hardest. You keep your depth, but you also learn to protect it. You redesign your role. You seek out projects, clients, or environments where depth is valued. Or you create them yourself. You filter the noise, carve out space for deep work, and refuse to let urgency decide your every move. It is slower, it takes more energy, but it keeps your mind intact. Most people do not choose their path, they drift into one. And the drift almost always goes toward assimilation or resignation, because those are easier. The third path demands awareness, discipline, and a willingness to walk away from certain opportunities. But here is the truth. If you do not make the choice yourself, the system will make it for you, and the system always chooses the shallow. What is happening here is not mysterious. It is behavioral conditioning, the same principle that trains animals in a lab. In psychology, it is called differential reinforcement. The behavior that gets rewarded becomes stronger. The behavior that gets ignored fades away. It does not matter if the behavior is good, bad, deep, or shallow. The only thing that matters is the feedback loop. In modern work, the loop is set to reward speed and visibility, fast responses, immediate results, quick alignment in a meeting. These are the things that trigger praise, promotions, and bonuses. Depth operates on a different clock. Real understanding takes time. Complex solutions take time. And because they cannot be measured instantly, they get pushed aside for things that can. This creates what I call the urgency illusion. When everything is labeled as urgent, there is no space for depth. The clock becomes the real boss, and every decision bends to its pressure. Over time, the brain adapts. Neural pathways that once supported patience and long-form thinking get used less. Pathways that support rapid reaction get used more. Like a muscle, the ones you train grow, the ones you neglect shrink. This is not just a change in habit, it is a change in the wiring of the mind. And the longer you stay in this environment, the more permanent the change becomes. The strange part is that our culture pretends to value depth. We are told from school onward that critical thinking is essential, that innovation requires patience, that the best solutions come from understanding the root of the problem. But step into most modern workplaces and you see the opposite. The message changes. Move fast. Keep it brief. Don't overcomplicate. This is the double bind. On one side, you are told to think deeply. On the other, you are punished for the time it takes to do it. When people live inside a double bind, they do not just feel pressured, they start to doubt themselves. You begin to wonder if you are the problem. Maybe you are too slow. Maybe you are making things more complicated than they need to be. That self-doubt is powerful. It makes the shift toward the shallow feel like your own decision, rather than something the system is forcing on you. And that is exactly why it works. There is also what I call the respect recession. Over time, respect for thoughtful, deliberate work has declined. In a culture obsessed with speed and volume, patience looks like weakness and caution looks like fear. This isn't just happening in offices. You see it in politics, where sound bites beat serious debate. You see it in media, where headlines are designed to be read in 3 seconds. You see it in daily life, where quick replies are valued more than careful answers. The environment teaches us that being fast is being competent, and being deep is being out of touch. That is the cultural trap we are living in. We celebrate the idea of depth, but we reward the reality of the shallow. When deep minds are pulled to the surface, the damage spreads far beyond the individual. The first layer is personal. You begin to lose your own sense of identity, the part of you that once loved to explore ideas. To wrestle with complexity now feels foreign. You tell yourself, you are just being practical. You convince yourself you are adapting. But deep down, you feel the weight of what is missing. Over time, the loss becomes normal. You stop missing the depth because you stop remembering what it felt like. The muscle for deep thinking weakens from disuse, and like any muscle, it does not return easily once it is gone. The second layer is within organizations. Teams that used to have at least a few people willing to dig into the hard problems now have none. Meetings become echo chambers of fast answers and recycled ideas. Issues that could have been solved at the root get patched over again and again. Short-term wins are celebrated, while long-term failures quietly build in the background. In this kind of culture, real innovation becomes rare. Risk-taking disappears because deep analysis, the kind that can make risk manageable, is gone. Leaders stop making informed decisions and start making reactive ones. The organization runs faster, but it runs in circles. The third layer is society itself. When enough individuals and organizations operate in the shallow, the culture shifts entirely. Public conversations become shorter, sharper, and emptier. Complex issues get boiled down to slogans. Real solutions are abandoned in favor of gestures that look like solutions. It is a dangerous feedback loop. The more we reward speed over depth, the more our problems multiply. And the more our problems multiply, the more we demand quick fixes. This is not just about lost potential. It is about vulnerability. A society that cannot think deeply becomes easy to manipulate. It reacts instead of reflects. It chases the urgent instead of the important. And the tragedy is that the people most capable of breaking this cycle, the deep minds, are the very ones being trained out of their depth. If the shallow is winning, it is not enough to simply wish for depth to return. You have to make deliberate moves to protect it. The first move is awareness. You cannot fight what you do not see. Start paying attention to the feedback loops around you. Notice when depth is ignored and when speed is rewarded. Recognize that these signals are shaping your behavior. Often without your permission, awareness breaks the automatic cycle. The second move is boundary setting. In a world that treats every task as urgent, you have to protect space for deep work. That means blocking time on your calendar, refusing to answer every ping instantly, and defending projects that require long-term focus. If you do not guard your time, the system will take all of it. The third move is strategic contribution. You do not have to abandon quick wins entirely, but you must balance them with deeper contributions that matter. Deliver something small and fast to satisfy the system. Then carve out the room to build something that lasts. Think of it as feeding the system while also feeding your mind. The fourth move is environmental design. If your current environment punishes depth, no matter what you do, you may need to change it. Seek out teams, leaders, or organizations that value the kind of thinking you want to protect. If you cannot find one, build one. The people you work with will shape your mind more than any book or class. Choose them carefully. The fifth move is daily practice. Depth is a muscle. Keep it strong by exercising it outside of work if you must. Read books that challenge you. Write without a deadline. Learn skills that require patience. These habits will keep your mind from shrinking to fit the shallow demands of the day. The shallow game will always be easier to play, but the rewards of depth, clarity, creativity, lasting impact are worth the discipline it takes to keep them alive. Because in the end, this is not just about protecting your mind. It is about protecting the kind of society we become when deep minds refuse to disappear. The slow erosion of depth does not announce itself. It does not come with alarms or warnings. It comes quietly in the form of small compromises, a quick reply here, a skipped analysis there, until one day you realize you have been living on the surface for years. Modern work will not hand you the time to think. It will not protect your focus. It will not reward you for holding the line on depth that is not its nature. If you want to keep your mind deep, you have to make that choice yourself. It begins with paying attention. Catch yourself when you trade accuracy for speed. Notice when you avoid complexity because it is easier to offer something simple. Every time you choose depth instead of giving in to the shallow, you are training your mind to stay strong. It continues with protecting the space where deep thinking can survive. Maybe that means turning off notifications for an hour. Maybe it means asking better questions in meetings, even when you know they will slow things down. Maybe it means finding the courage to say, "We do not have enough information to decide yet." The choice will not always make you popular. It will not always get applause. But it will keep you aligned with the kind of thinker you set out to be. And that matters because the survival of deep minds is not just about personal pride. It is about the quality of decisions in our organizations, the strength of our communities, and the direction of our culture. Every time you choose depth, you are doing more than protecting yourself. You are pushing back against a system that wants to flatten everything into the fastest possible version. If enough people do that, the tide can turn. If you do it alone, you will still stand taller than the shallow world around you. Either way, it begins now, not with a grand gesture, not with a speech, but with the next decision you make and how far beneath the surface you are willing to go to make it right.